kind of like crazy. Getting back to 58. That kind of thing. It's very,
You're squeaky.
yeah. That wasn't that happy.
Says 68. My phone says
That
68.
one was definitely. Although I did like the at least chicken, I wasn't a fan of, but
Yeah.
after listening to the guy, he was
Very professional.
Computer
very
said.
informative.
7 o'clock on the
Knew what he
dot.
was doing.
Yeah,
phone says
unlike the
6:58.
carpet guys. Not exactly.
And that's the thing, or the soccer guys. What's in the other suites? What's in the? They were doing it and got shut down.
Yeah, that's funny how
Batteries
that all
failed.
happened
That came
at
out.
the end of his statement.
Yeah, that came out. I didn't know that. And then I'm like, really? So you were doing that illegally? No, you have to follow it. Yeah. We get a lot of crazy stuff, actually.
Yeah.
I guess you do.
We do.
It's just hot sitting up in the stands.
Shut the heaters off, I think, after you came back down.
Okay.
It's got cold in here.
Felt like it was getting like a sunburn on her face. Yeah, it was a good game.
I saw like a minute and a half. I couldn't even tell you what I did. I was just running around the. I have no idea what I did.
I thought I gave that to you. Did I give the one of those to you?
Little feet are taking over. Can't touch the ground.
And she's laughing at me.
They get some fixtures. What do they call them?
Go ahead.
For the platforms.
Platforms, yeah.
So she's laughing at me. That's all we're doing. I am older than her.
I'm going to call this meeting. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Good evening, everybody. We're going to start with the invocation. I'm going to call up Pastor Karen Butler from Wings of Deliverance Church to do our invocation. Everybody could please rise.
Okay. First of all, I want to say happy and blessed New Year to each and every one. 2025, we made it over. And so tonight we want to remember the Downtown Development Authority, our library, and we want to remember Karen Lisco, Lincoln Park resident entering hospice for cancer, and that she was a strong advocate for women's issues and local history. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, we come tonight. First of all, we want to say thank you. Thank you, because we made it from one year to the other. We thank you for even blessing this city council, blessing Mayor Tobin, and for what even, that you've brought her through. We're asking you tonight to remember these departments, to remember this family who is grieving over their loved one, and this individual who has served this community. We ask you, Lord God, tonight to remember every member of the city council, everyone that is visiting here on tonight. Remember them, remember their families. Keep them covered with your blood and with your divine protection. We pray tonight, we're remembering as we pray, we are remembering California, because we know, God, it may be fire on that end of the country, but it could be something else here in the state of Michigan. And so we thank you, Lord. We ask that you would remember your people everywhere. I pray, God, for this room and for this building. I pray for the atmosphere that as Mayor Tobin and the city council try to come to resolutions, try to figure out what they can do to be a blessing to the residents of Lincoln Park, that you would give them strength, courage, and most of all, wisdom. Breathe on your people, to cover them as they go in and out of their homes, as they come here and then leave the building. God, we look to you because you are a miracle worker. You are the only one that can truly protect us. We pray for every department. We pray for the policemen who risk their lives trying to cover this city. We look to you right now, and all of the public workers. We look to you and we ask these blessings in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. George, you want to call the roll?
Councilpersons Bear,
Here.
Dupre,
Here.
Nichols.
Yes.
Ross,
Here.
Salcido.
Here.
Zor.
Here.
And Mayor Tobin.
Here. I have just a few remarks tonight. First off, I want to start off with remembering Jimmy Carter. I have a quote here from the U.S. Conference of Mayors President, Mayor Andrew Kushner. He says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, and President Jimmy Carter was truly one of the greatest of them. An incredible American, he spent his life dedicated to the uplifting human dignity in both the United States and around the world. His legacy continues to inspire us today as we strive to build peace in our neighborhoods and across the globe. An American hero, Jimmy Carter's life reminds us that one person's devotion to service and justice can change the world." And in closing, I want to say that we all held President Carter in great regards. If you think of a life well lived, you must consider the life of Jimmy Carter as a life to strive for, a life of service and dedication, quiet devotion, and of meaning and grace. Be the things you love about the people who have gone, in remembrance of Jimmy Carter. I also wanted to remember Robert Sidler, a distinguished constitutional lawyer. He was a great friend of Lincoln Park, and he passed away last week. So please keep him and his family in your prayers and in your thoughts. I have some thing to share with you today about today in history in Lincoln Park. 100 years ago today, as we end our 100th birthday year, the city of Lincoln Park, and this date 100 years ago, the residents of Lincoln Park joined together in an electoral of the village of Lincoln Park. They went to the polling precincts in a much anticipated vote on whether to reincorporate the village of Lincoln Park into a city. The voters approved the incorporation by a final vote tally of 460 yes votes to 380 no votes, setting in motion the legal process for Lincoln Park to officially become a city 100 years ago today. And I just think that's pretty amazing. There were 3 precincts 100 years ago. The first precinct was the South Village Council Chambers on Lincoln between Chandler and Ferris. They had 107 yes votes and 83 no votes. Precinct 2 was in the north. It was Stowage School on the southwest corner of Pepper Road, which was Outer Drive, and Fort Street. They had 289 yes votes, 256 no votes. And Precinct 3 was the West Precinct. It was Frank Grace Store on Porter Street in the vicinity of Hogarth School. And they had 71 votes, yes votes, and 41 no votes. All this information came from the Lincoln Park News, issued January 15th, 1925. All these buildings I mentioned are all long gone. The Village Hall was demolished in the late 1950. The Stowage School was raised in 1927 with the widening of Fort Street throughout the city, and the Grace Store was lost to history as well. So I just wanted to share those facts with you because I find it amazing that 100 years ago today, the city voted to make us a city.
I did not administer that election.
And as you all know, we had a fabulous Saturday night at the community center. Our 50th anniversary was Saturday, and we had our PD and our FD take on the Red Wing alumni, and boy, was that something. Sold out event, and the atmosphere in the building was just amazing. It was crazy good. The game was amazing. It was just a wonderful way to bring in 50 years to the ice rink, and I couldn't be prouder of the Parks and Rec Department for how they handled this, the community policing, how they helped. There's a really nice article in the News Herald about it if you guys get a chance, either online or in the newspaper, to read about it. They really did us proud, and everybody was fabulous. I hope we can do this again. We don't wait another 50 years. I hope we can take on the Red Wings again, because boy, those guys are big. This year, they were just, but it was a lot of fun. So congratulations, Dennis, on a job really well done. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll go on to the consent agenda. So resolve that the following items What?
It's the 23rd of December. There's a typo when you get down to reading the minutes.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna do the audit.
okay. So, I'm gonna go back onto the consent agenda here. Resolved that the following items listed under the consent agenda and be approved as presented to the mayor and council. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting of December 23rd, 2024. Approve accounts and claims payable. Approve participation residential rehab program. Approve participation emergency sewer rehab program. Approve attendance police training. Approve training FD. Attend training parks and recreation. Approve renewal of auto dealership.
So move.
Support. Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Zor,
Yes.
and Mayor Tobin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go on to the audit presentation.
And Mayor and Council, I have Timothy St. Andrew, who's the new managing partner on our account this year, and James Hapla. They're both with Plant Moran. Go ahead and take over.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us here to present the results of the financial statement audit and single audit for the year ended June 30, 2024. As Lisa mentioned, my name is Tim St. Andrew, and with me is James Hoppola. Before we get into the deliverables tonight, I did want to take the opportunity to thank Lisa for their help during the audit. So the audit process really starts back in July when the year-end close process begins. So it's really a 4 to 5 month process to prepare for and complete an audit. So it does take a lot of time and effort, but we certainly appreciate your team's efforts in getting this audit done on time. So there are 3 deliverables that come out of the audit. One would be the city's financial statements. 2 would be what we call the end of audit letter, which contains the required communications that we have to have with you as a governing body. And then 3 this year would be the federal single audit, which is the audit of the city's federal awards. Starting with the financial statements, so pages 1 through 3 would be the auditor's opinion. We did, on the top of page 1, you will see that we did issue an unmodified opinion, and so that's a clean opinion, and that means that the financial statements can be relied upon by the users of the financial statements. James will cover some of the financial trend information that is presented in the graph presentation that we handed out and have up on screen here, but just to touch on a couple highlights. So the general fund did add $334,000 to fund balance this year from $7.9 million in fund balance last year to $8.2 million at the end of 2024. So this is the 4th year in a row that the city's added to the general fund balance, and so credit to you for monitoring the budget, keeping tabs on things, and making sure they're adding to those fund balance reserves. The water and sewer fund did have an operating gain of $1.2 million this year, and while the fund still is in a negative unrestricted net position, these operating gains that you've had for a couple years in a row now are slowly starting to improve the financial condition of that fund. And then lastly, the city did receive almost $29 million in pension grants this year. That, as you'll see on a slide that James will cover, did significantly increase the funding status of both pension plans that you have. This year we also had to perform an audit, as I mentioned, on the city's federal awards. So the city did spend $7.7 million in federal awards this year. $6.6 million of that related to the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act funding. And given that level of funding, that was the major program that we had to test. Similar to the financial statements, we did issue an unmodified opinion on the single audit as well. In the back of the single audit report, starting on page 10, we do disclose a few material weaknesses that were identified during the audit. So the first one on page 10 would have to do with journal entries that were identified during the audit. So we're happy to come in when we do identify journal entries, help get them booked. But whenever we do identify journal entries, we do have to report them to you as a material weakness. And this would be a fairly common deficiency that we'd have. Number 2 on page 11, we did note that there were some instances where the proper segregation of duties were not in place surrounding certain IT functions, and then having to do a secondary review of certain reconciliations. This can be difficult when staffing is limited, but we would recommend that the city take a look at these areas, and if there are opportunities to expand some of the layers of review, we would recommend you do that. Number 3, on page 12, we did note during the audit that throughout the year, bank reconciliations weren't prepared and reviewed on a timely basis. Ultimately, they were all prepared and reviewed, and we were able to test them as part of the audit. We would recommend going forward, though, that the city prepare and review them on a more timely basis. And then the last one on page 13 has to do with a single audit. One of the compliance requirements related to the ARPA grant is the city is required to, prior to entering into contracts with vendors, do a suspension and debarment check on those vendors, basically making sure that they're not suspended or debarred and allowed to do business. In this case, that particular check, the evidence of that check was not maintained by the city, and so that resulted in that material weakness and noncompliance. Any questions on what I covered before I turn it over to James? That was a lot. Okay, all right, thank you.
Good evening. As Tim said, I'm James Hopla, and I will be going through some of these graphs here to help display some of the city's high-level financial information. So this first graph here presents the past 5 years of fund balance for the combined general fund. During the 2024 fiscal year, total fund balance increased approximately $334,000. The two components of fund balance this year were the restricted, which was restricted mainly for construction code activity and a little bit for roads, and then the unassigned portion. This next graph here presents the past 5 years of revenue for the general fund. For the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, total revenue increased by approximately $25 million from the previous year. As you can see, historically, the city's largest source of revenue has been property tax, which again remained pretty stable compared to last year's amount, increasing by about 8%, which approximates the city's increase in taxable value. You can see that orange bar had a pretty significant increase this year. It increased about $23.7 million, and that was mainly due to the Michigan pension grant funds received of roughly $23.5 million. Real quick, I'm going to jump to the next slide. This is expenses here. You can see a similar jump in the total number of expenses here, and that is due to the accounting for this Michigan pension grant. Back to revenue, though. The remaining components of revenue here really were pretty stable with last year's amounts, so really there's not too much to disclose here. All right, back to the expense slide. Again, this graph is the past 5 years of expenditures for the city's general fund. There have been no true significant changes to the cost structure of the general fund. Outside of this pension grant that we talked about, the total expenditures have remained very consistent over the past few years, both in total and by component. This year they went up about $2 million, excluding that pension grant. You can see the effect of that pension grant in both the general government total, which was related to the MERS pension, and the district court, again related to MERS, and then public safety. For the current year, there were a few overages when compared to the budget expenditures, with some of the items related to this entry for the pension grant, but for the most part, the department heads were all pretty close to their budgets, which means they're operating as approved by City Council. Taking a quick look at the two pension plans at the City of Lincoln Park here over the past 4 years. As you can note from this slide, the MERS plan increased its funding percentage from 21.9 to 62%, a huge leap. Most of that due to this pension grant that was received. The police officers and firefighter retirement plan also increased from about 41.5% to 62.9%. Just a quick note that the MERS plan is measured at December 31st, 2023, and the public safety plan is as of June 30th, 2024. The amounts listed as the contributions on this slide, the $3 million and the $5.7 million, were the city's contributions, and then additionally from that pension grant, MERS received an additional $10.3 million, and the public safety plan received about $13.2 million. So the funding of these pensions will still remain a significant piece of the city's overall expenditures for the general fund for many more years. However, this grant really had a large impact on that funding percentage, and it's great news for the city. Jumping into the water and sewer fund here, this graph shows the water and sewer fund's operating revenue in blue compared to its operating expenses, that red line, and the operating expenses excluding depreciation, the yellow line. As you can see, the city is operating in a slight gain position, but if you exclude the depreciation expense, which is really a non-cash item, that margin increases significantly. As far as the numbers are reported in the financial statements, the city had operating income of $1.27 million in the water and sewer fund, and after non-operating items were included, a total change in that position of $9.67 million. This number is a lot higher than last year, again related to some of the grants received, the Drinking Water Asset Management Grant, SRF grant, and then the pension allocation and some capital contributions from ARPA. This graph's a quick look at the water and sewers current assets, current liabilities, and cash operating expenses excluding depreciation. The difference between the current assets and current liabilities is the working capital available to the city's water and sewer fund. Working capital represents the water and sewer fund's ability to pay current obligations or emergencies as they come up. As of June 30th, 2024, working capital was a negative $2.8 million. The totality of that current assets is tied up in receivables. Additionally, there are no other fund balance reserves for investments in capital assets or emergencies in the water and sewer fund. The city's water loss for the year remained high at 41%, but it is slightly down from last year, and I know there was a lot of work that went into some of the water and sewer lines and mains and fixing those, so we're looking forward to seeing that number trend down next year as well. As part of that annual rate setting for water and sewer rates, we do encourage the city to set rates that will help them build up this working capital, while also factoring in some long-term plans and projects that are to be put in place. With that, that's the end of the slideshow here, but if there are any questions for Tim or myself, we would be happy to take those.
Through the chair. Pages 3 on the graph and pages 4. Those are millions, not 20,000 like we have. Okay.
Millions, correct.
Yeah, just want to make sure. I assumed, but if somebody out there happens to look at this, they're like,
Yeah, they'd be surprised.
50 grand's not a lot of money.
No.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Do you want me to close the laptop or just leave it as is?
Just-
Close it.
I'll
Thank
grab
you.
it.
So I guess we'll move on to our action items.
I'll read this one.
Move on to the duo. Do you want to read
Yep.
it?
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution is to amend the DUA Articles of Incorporation. So I've been attending the meetings as a board member for just about a year now. And one of the items that they were previously working on, and that this is what this entails, is making some amendments to the Articles of Incorporation. The primary one that they are looking at changing is switching the fiscal year. So currently they are on a December 31st ending fiscal year, and they're looking to align it with, as most of the communities are on a June 30th. So that is the main one, but they also have some other changes in there. They want to change the address from Taylor to Wyandotte, and then they want to clarify the alternate commissioner only has to be set forth in the municipality's minutes, define the default for non-payment as 90 days after the invoice is overdue, and then that would result in a loss of vote at the board. Clarify that 66% of those entitled to vote and attending the meeting constitutes a supermajority, and change supermajority voting on capital expenditures from $500,000 to $800,000. There's also an item to insert new Article X so that the percentages for voting as amended by the board no more than annually to reflect the sewer use attributed to each community. Eliminate bonding requirements for the treasurer, and change budget submission date to prior to April 1st. So again, the main item that this will align with the communities for their fiscal year ending. So it'll help us with our rate setting, and it won't take effect until, I believe, next fiscal year. So most of the communities have already authorized this resolution. There's a few that are still remaining, us being one of them. So once they get everybody's resolutions, and they'll start the changes, they have to file paper with the state.
Whereas 1955 PA 233, as amended Act 233, authorized an authority to acquire sewage disposal systems as defined within said act and to improve, enlarge, expand, and operate such systems. And whereas by the term of Act 233, the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority, DUA, with members of cities of Belleville, Ecorse, Lincoln Park, River Rouge, Southgate, Wyandotte, Allen Park, Taylor, Dearborn Heights, Romulus, Riverview, and the charter townships of Van Buren and Brownstown communities, has ownership and operation of the sewage disposal systems, and whereas DUA owns and operates the systems pursuant to the Articles of Incorporation and bylaws, and whereas DUA Board of Commissioners has recommended changes to the Articles of Incorporation to acknowledge change in circumstances and such amended articles, and have reviewed by the Municipalities Council and the DUA's Legal Committee and the DUA Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Lincoln Park hereby agrees that the second amended Articles of Incorporation of the DUA and hereby approved, and the appropriate administrative officials of the municipality is hereby authorized to execute the said articles.
I'll move.
Support.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
And Mayor Tobin.
Yes. Okay, next up we have a word bid for the doors at the ice rink, the Zamboni doors.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you is the award bid for the replacement of the Zamboni Room interior garage door. The Parks and Recreation Department has received only one bid with options for the removal and replacement of the failed interior Zamboni Room garage door in the ice arena at the community center. Allied Building Services provided three options for us. Option one was the removal and replacement and disposal of the door for $10,660. Option 2 and 3 are basically the same. It's replacement of the door with the addition of an automatic opener for it, an electric opener, so that the employees don't have to open it by hand. The difference between the two is we provide the electrical run to it, or they provide the electrical. So option 2 is without electrical, option 3 is with electrical. And those are $12,110 and $13,620. After reviewing the bids, we have found that Allied Building Services was the only bid and the lowest bid that met all the requirements stated in the bid specifications. The funds are to come from account number 410-001-983-000. It is recommended that Mayor and Council award the bid to Allied Building Services to remove and replace the interior Zamboni Room garage door in the ice arena at the community center for a cost not to exceed $10,660.
Whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has solicited bids for the removal and replacement of the failed interior Zamboni Room garage door in the ice arena at the community center, and whereas after reviewing all bids that were received, it was determined that Allied Building Services has met all the requirements listed in the bid specifications. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council do hereby award the contract to Allied Building Services at a cost not to exceed $10,666. Funds to come from account number 410-001-983-000.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Through the chair, Your Honor. Two questions, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
What was your original budget for this door? Did you have one like?
We did not have a budget for this. This was an emergency repair, basically. The door failed in the middle of a game. one of the employees was opening the door. It was almost all the way up, and it gave way. The inner workings of it finally failed. This door is original to the building, so it is 50 years old, and it did come down
Next question.
with
is this
force.
fire door also, or no?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good. All right. I mean, I could have had the electric door for 3,000 more, but I appreciate you going for the low bid, but thank you very much. Good job.
To the chair. Dennis, is this a roll-up door?
Yes, it is.
And my other question is, I know this particular instance, it's an emergency, so you have to fix it. But I really would love to see Parks and Rec start using grants and funding. You're always asking for money, but you're never using anything that's grants. And this year alone, there's 700 grants for Parks and Rec. So I'm just letting you know they're out there.
Yep.
And we need to start looking for that.
Anyone else?
Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
Dennis, since this door lasted 50 years, that's, I think that's amazing. But does this door come with any kind of warranty?
It does come with a warranty. Bear with me 1 second.
Mayor, there's a statutory and an implied warranty of merchantability and fitness, so I wouldn't worry. There's a 6-year breach of contract,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
whether they like it or not.
Okay.
It does have a warranty.
Anyone else?
Through the chair, if the electricity goes out, can we override that?
Yeah, on the exterior door, so this room, the Zamboni room, if you don't know, it's actually like an airlock to the building, so there's an interior door and an exterior door at both ends. The exterior door is an electric door, and there is a emergency pull chain on it, so you can disengage it
Like
and
a
get two
garage.
guys to pull it up.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
That it?
Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Zoer,
Yes.
and Mayor Tobin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have an appointment to the CIC. All I have is a resolution. Resolved that Mayor Higgins, that Michael Higgins.
Say it for so long.
Pardon me?
Stays in your head.
Yeah. That Michael Higgins be and is hereby appointed to the Community Improvement Commission, term to expire 5/1/2027.
Move.
Support.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Nichols.
Yes.
Dupre.
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Zoer,
Yes.
and Mayor Tobin.
Yes. Next is another appointment. Resolved that Michael Higgins be and is hereby appointed to the Parks and Rec Commission to fill the unexpired term of Jason Nichols, term to expire 5/1/2027.
I'll move.
Support.
Through the chair, Your Honor. So we're
Yes.
into discussion, correct?
Yes.
In my time here at council, I recall commissions, I don't ever recall one person applying for two. I mean, is that legal? I appreciate, of course, obviously the mayor stepped up and want
Right.
to be involved, but
I was on two commissions.
Commissions,
Yes.
so it does
Yeah, I was on
happen.
Parks and Rec and I was on the CIC.
what does happen?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Need me to weigh in? I have nothing else to weigh in. It's happened before. But I will say there are certain commissions where you're precluded from serving in one when it's a conflict with the other. However, in this particular instance, it's fine.
Okay.
Until you find more volunteers, it's the best way to fill the drain.
I just want to say that I know that there has been issues brought to my attention about a resident wanting to apply for two commissions that was told he couldn't. The gentleman's here tonight. I don't know if he wants to speak on it or not. If you would like to come up and speak on it.
My name is Fred Wilson. I live in 1308 University Avenue, Lincoln Park, Michigan. I was told by Mayor Higgins that you are only allowed to be on one commission. You could not be on two commissions. It was a council rule. Asked him more than once to be on another commission. He told me no. And then commissions are supposed to be notified by email, not by text. I didn't get notified by text or email on the commission I served. Half the time I didn't know when there was a meeting. Text is not a good way to notify people of a meeting. Normally an email's a nice paper trail. Hard to make a paper trail out of a text. That's all I had to say. Whether or not, you give him two commissions he's on, that's up to you all, because I can't make that decision. But I was on CIC. I wanted to be on the EDC. Was told no, I couldn't do that because you're only allowed to be on one commission at a time, according to council rule, is the way he put it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else?
Welcome back, Mike.
Do we,
Yes.
I have heard from different commission members about family members, people having issues with family members being on the same commission. Do we not have a Higgins on the commission?
I've had people talk to me about family members being on the same commission also. There's a family member to Mike Higgins on the Parks and Rec Commission also, just for clarity and openness, there is already a Higgins on the Parks and Rec Commission also. So, just to be transparent on that, I would like everybody to know that also.
Yeah, he is a cousin.
Yes. Lillian, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just had a quick comment about the commissions, because some of them, there are particulars, there's certain criteria that you have to meet.
Right.
As well.
Mhm.
It isn't just,
Right.
resident. There are other.
Yes.
There's other criteria.
Right. And as Ed said, some commissions, if you're on one commission, it disqualifies you from being other commissions. Some commissions don't have that rule. Some commissions have the bylaws written into the bylaws that you can't be an elected official and be on a commission.
Right.
And that, so there's all kinds of criteria that need to be met to be on commissions
Yep.
when you apply for them. They are looked at by city management and sent to us for approval. So, is there anything else?
Mayor, is there a question? You may have not been here, Councilman, when I addressed the family members being on the commission, and clearly in a town of this size or any size, I harken back to the movie Blazing Saddles, where everyone's last name was Johnson. There's very little you can do in this here. And when you have a greater gene pool here for having more members than we start looking at, and I know you weren't here at the meeting, we gave the opinion on Councilman Ross's son appearing, and sometimes we can't choose our birthright, we can't pick our older relatives.
This is true.
Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Dupre?
No.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
No.
Zor?
Yes.
And Mayor Tobin?
No.
That passed.
Next is used auto dealership.
I can do it.
Or just the resolution, we don't have to go into
Yeah,
anything?
we don't have to go.
Okay, resolved that a new Class B used vehicle dealer and Class C used auto parts dealer license will be approved for the following location: 4x4 Auto Center LLC, 1027 Southfield Road.
Excuse me, move.
Support.
Discussion?
Any discussion?
Yes, please. I sent an email earlier today to the building department because I wanted more information on this Class C license. When I think of Class C and it's used auto parts dealer license, I think junkyard. You know, where you go and you get used auto parts, where the public can. So right now, without further information to know specifically why they want that Class C license, I'm uncomfortable moving forward with this.
They didn't give you an answer?
Nope.
Okay. Any other
To the
discussion?
chair. I personally would like to see, not only with a better explanation, but I think that, we're getting too many dealers in the city, and they're all doing the exact same thing, and they're loading the lots up with vehicles. And I'm not, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to be the city that hosts all the used car dealers. I think we should promote anything else but.
Okay, just for reference, this facility is this in, has this gone through planning?
I asked that very question in my email, but I never got a response.
mean,
I
it was
don't
not
believe it
previously
has.
a used auto lot.
It was.
It was already, so I don't believe it's gone through
was.
It
planning.
says was not previously a used auto lot.
It was.
It was, so it wouldn't go through planning.
That's on the corner lot.
I would like
To the chair,
Was.
pull this for further information.
just pulling it up on Google Maps, it is between Austin and on Ferris, next to the Millennium Laundry. It looks
It
like it's
has-
right across the street from Calder's,
Yeah,
for reference.
it has been a lot for a long time.
It has.
Yeah, it
So
is.
which is
I don't
why I
understand
wouldn't
why they're
go,
going from B to C.
which is why they wouldn't go into
They want
planning.
both. They want the used auto dealer's license so that they can sell vehicles, and they want to be able to buy and sell used auto parts as well. They want both.
And according to the picture on Google Maps, they have a parking lot with cars parked
do.
on it.
Yep.
Mayor, if I could just add, with the business name being 4x4 Auto Center, that doesn't lead me to believe that they buy and sell used auto parts. To me, it leads me that it's a repair, some sort of service repair. I would prefer that we defer this till the next meeting.
I agree. I think we should defer it just because right here of what it states on this application. This needs more clarification. It says location was not previously a used auto lot. First time request date and description of state license.
It's been there a while.
So now yes.
It's a new owner. It's a new owner.
That's why it emptied out.
Prior use of property, it says used car dealer, auto repair facility.
Yeah. It's right by my house, and I've seen it many times.
But this is the first time that he's requested a license from it.
Yeah.
That's why we use the new used auto dealer,
Because it's the new
because
owner.
it's a new owner. It's considered a new business.
To the chair, does a new owner have to, start over?
Yes.
Oh.
Every time there's a new business,
Change of business, it needs to go through
Thank
this
you.
process.
Okay.
But if it's the same business, it doesn't have to go through planning.
it's the same type.
It's the
Yes.
same type of business, it doesn't, but it's a change.
We didn't see it on planning.
As long as that's fine with the mover and the supporter.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. We'll share it.
I will
I
try.
think it's
Okay.
better to
I don't
be
think so.
cautious and clear than it is to just
Okay.
go ahead.
We'll get more information for you. Bring it back next time.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. As I sent an email out to council last week that the water main project going from Champaign to Cleophas was set to start work today, so they have done some preliminary work, but as the week goes on, they'll get a little bit more into it. Notices were sent out to all of the residents. Again, so it'll be from Champaign to Cleophas and all of the streets in between there. And the project will take approximately 9 months, I believe, to complete, so it will be a lengthy project. But we are excited to get more water mains replaced, so that's a good thing for us. And then late this afternoon, Priority did send me over the tonnage report for the year of 2024, so I'll get that forwarded to council. And then we're currently looking, the assessor asked me to speak to this, that we're looking for 2 members of the community to serve on the Board of Review. We need 1 regular commissioner and then 1 alternate. This is one of the few boards that there actually is compensation for, and they only meet, I believe it's 3 months out of the year, so it's not too hot and heavy, but we are looking for somebody to sit on that board, primarily the main one, and then an alternate if possible. So you can apply online, or you can come into the Office of City Management to get the application for that. And then I wanted to thank the DPS workers. They worked really hard over the weekend. There was the snowfall on Friday, so they stayed late plowing and salting the streets. And there was several water main breaks over the weekend as well. So in these extreme cold temperatures, we are more prone to the main breaks, and they have to stay out there in the cold weather, so I give them a lot of credit for doing that. And then just a reminder that the city offices will be closed on Monday for observance of Martin Luther King Day. And that is all I have.
To the chair. Great news that Priority has set up that portal and.
Well, we don't necessarily have the portal yet, but
okay.
they
Well,
did send over the tonnage
Tonnage report.
information.
And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what kind of micro data we might be able to get out of the portal once it is up and running. There are some parts of it I really want to look at.
Yes, so we should be able to view it on a regular basis on there as well, so that would be really helpful.
That's all.
To the chair, do you know exact timing on the water main replacement? They're starting at Cleophas or they're starting at Champaign?
They're starting towards Champaign, I believe, no?
Fort Park.
Oh, Fort Park, yes. But up towards Champaign, correct? And they're working backwards towards us.
And we have everything in place for our fire department to be able to get in and out of the station, police department to get in and out, court, okay. I'm just making sure.
Okay, then we're gonna move on for the department head report. Brandon Fry from the DDA.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good evening. Pleasure to be here. First up for the new year. Okay, I have a few things to cover tonight, and I'll start with our RRC certification. So the past few months, I've been working with our RRC planner to get us much closer to complete certification. RRC is Redevelopment Ready Communities. It is a program under the MEDC. There are 2 levels to it. So there's the Essentials Alignment, which is currently it's at 87% complete, and then the second one is our Certified Alignment, which is currently has a little bit more work to do. It's at 66% complete, but I've been working on it the past few months. It's been boosted up quite a bit, but those are the 2 levels as of now. Now, to get complete certification, it's mostly improving our transparency and reporting measures. I know the city, we're in the process of a website redesign, so that will do wonders in our reporting measures and get us much closer to complete certification. Now, the benefits of being RRC certified is we would get matching funding opportunities, technical assistance, and most importantly, a redevelopment service team, which would help make us more attractive to potential developers. If you've ever been on the RRC webpage, I believe there's 78 different cities that are RRC certified, and it would be very beneficial for us to be one of those communities. So in due time, hopefully relatively soon. By the next time I do my next report, hopefully we'll be completely certified. So again, that's still a work in progress. Next, I want to talk about our DDA tax capture numbers. We're up over 100,000 for this most recent, up over 100,000 compared to our previous fiscal year. So that gives us an opportunity to be more creative. We're in the midst of our budgeting season, so gives us a chance to do more for our downtown. Our streets reconstruction project. Hopefully this spring or this summer, 7 of our streets in the downtown will be reconstructed and repaired. So we look forward to that. There's 2 new businesses that recently went through Planning Commission last week that I'm excited for. There's still the early phases of it. There's still a lot to go on with these 2 properties, but fingers crossed, if all goes well, we'll have these 2 new businesses. But one is, it'll go right here next on Southfield, that grass area next to Taco Bell. There's a new restaurant that's hopefully coming. And then there's an indoor soccer facility that presented last week at Planning Commission that just 2 new cool businesses that I'm excited for. Again, fingers crossed, hopefully everything goes well and we'll see those come to fruition. Next, I want to talk about our Mellis lot. We're in the process of naming it. I always call it, I still call it Mellis lot. It's currently, we use that for, the farmer's market is there. The Wilsons, they do a great job on that over the summer months, but we added electricity to it late last year with the hope that we can add more events to our calendar. So hopefully, particularly this summer, and then also hopefully we can use that as a location for our tree lighting event in the winter. But yeah, we look forward to that. And speaking of events, I want to end on our chocolate walk, which is upcoming. It'll be Saturday, February 15th from noon to 4 p.m. Again, this is an annual tradition. We use this as an opportunity to put the attention on our businesses. You'll see it's a cool challenge for the residents and even outside of Lincoln Park members to come visit the businesses in our corridor. You have, of course, our staples, and then new businesses that have opened over the past year as well. But again, I urge people not just to come and complete the challenge, but to also go visit the businesses, talk to the owners and the workers, see what's going on. I know each business, they usually do something cool on that day that they have featured as well. So we look forward to that. That's an annual tradition. It's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite events. So yeah, that is all I have for you tonight. Thank you for your time. If there's any questions or comments.
Through the chair. Randy, I know it's the middle of winter, but for the fitness court area, has there been any movement on plans and adding other units onto that?
Well, we were hoping to add some amenities to it. There was I'll go back to June of last year. Actually, the last time I was here, I believe that was August, I spoke about a potential plan to add more amenities to it. But presented that, we worked hard on that with our planners, and it was, to put it nicely, unfortunately, it was voted against. But it's still our DDA property. We have the ability to add, maybe on a smaller scale, but start on a smaller scale and add amenities as the year. Maybe each year we'll add an amenity to it, but it's a property that we're very proud of, and again, as the years go on, maybe once a year we'll add something to it.
Through the chair. Vacant buildings downtown. Has there been any action or on any of them?
So each year we do, along with the building department, we put together a vacancy report. And actually there was a woman who came to speak to me today. I actually handed her a list. I put together a list of all the properties with pictures of them, some background information, square footage, estimated contract values, and it will go up on the site, but currently I usually just give it to inquiring persons. And again, earlier today there was a woman that I spoke to that I gave that list to, but yeah, that again, usually at the top of the year I revise that list, but there is a list that exists, and again, it's not on the website, but usually when inquirer minds ask me for it.
You haven't had any action on any buildings, though?
So actually, in our main corridor, 1518, which was vacant for a while, is now a banquet hall. Our Lincoln Park Grill, we're still in the combination, so that was recently sold that has new owners, so they're still hoping to expand that, but the restaurant will remain as so. 1706 right on, I believe that's O'Connor. They went through planning commission late last summer. That's going to be a STEM education research center. So those three main properties in our downtown, we've seen some action on that. But
Lincoln Park Grill, they're talking about removing that wall and
correct.
using the other side.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
No problem.
Brandon, is there a deadline for the redevelopment ready communities work that you're working on now?
There's no deadline, so I believe, I can't remember who brought it up to, it may have been Councilman Ross, but I started that, I want to say late last year, but we have a great RRC planner, her name's Stephanie Pena, and she and I have been working together on that. There's a Trello account that has it's called the Roadmap to Certification, and I guess, like I said, we're at 87% on one level and 66 on another, and it's probably doubled it over the past 4 months. So hopefully, again, by the time next few months or so, we'll get it to 100%. But that'll be very beneficial for us. We'll get a redevelopment service team. It helps with our marketing, grants, etc.
Thank you.
To the chair. Brandon, the contractor that we use for cutting the main areas in the downtown development area, can we use him? I mean, is there a specific time that you have him out there, or because what I'm asking about is they were very instrumental on keeping Fort and Southfield cleaned up, and then it kind of went to the wayside, and I was wondering if before it snows or after the snow dissipates again, if they would assist us in keeping it looking like they may have had it looking all summer.
So you're talking just for the downtown, right? Or for the downtown, we agreed. So the way it works, so our landscaping contract ends typically in October, but we have like a trash removal service that goes from December with the same company that goes from December to April into the new landscaping contract. So that has been signed, and they do things like so there's like, I believe 30 or so trash cans along Fort Street, and they empty and replace those. But as far as sweeping, we don't have anything.
I wasn't asking on the sweep. I was just asking on getting the grass areas picked up. We're doing it.
Not picking up the grass, so to speak. It's just we just have a contract for them to empty out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
But
you, sir.
that could be something that we could implement in the future.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Brandon.
All right, thank you. Oh, and one final thing, for our chocolate walk, one change, and that's different from how we do it previous years. So there is our registration headquarters will be at the band shell. That's the one change. It's how we do it for most of the events, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But yeah, just wanted to add that final note. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
It's always been at the park restaurant. It's always been at the park restaurant.
Okay, at this point, we're going to have citizen communication. Is there anybody who'd like to come up and address the board, the council?
So I wanted to talk about Karen Risco, who was on tonight's prayer request, because she's a Lincoln Park resident, Lincoln Park High School graduate. I don't think any of you probably know Karen. Lillian, you maybe have heard her talk at the museum, but because Karen's not, she's actually a former teacher, local history lover, especially Detroit history, and author of 2 books, but she doesn't get into coming here complaining about stuff. In fact, she was on one of the popular local Facebook groups and left it because everybody was complaining about their trash. So, but I wanted to tell you about her because she's a member of the community and a very special, talented person. And she wrote 2 books, A History Lover's Guide to Detroit in 2017, and she talked about that February of 2019 at the museum with Rod Arroyo, who's the photographer for that book. And then 2015, she wrote Michigan Civil War Landmarks. Her business was originally Hometown History Tours, which she rebranded into City Tour Detroit. And then City Tour Detroit was basically walking tours, bus tours. One of her popular ones, around Halloween, was called Notorious 313, which I think she was sort of influenced by our ghost walk. And then cruise ships would come and they would hire her company to give tours. And then the last time she had a bad health crisis with cancer about 2.5 years ago. After she got through that, 2023, she opened a boutique in the Guardian building, which she's since had to sell her business because of her health. But I accompanied her one day back in 2015. She did a local history day with authors of local history books. And I had the Lincoln Park book, and a lot of authors were selling their books. And then during the pandemic, she would do a Facebook Live Friday nights about 8 o'clock where she'd talk about local history stuff like the Witch of Del Rey. And Karen has a great storytelling voice. And she even had one of those. She had Emily Gale, who you might remember from the 70s, had her business. Emily's across the street with the famous slogan of "Say nice things about Detroit." So all of us that know Karen are saying our prayers, hoping she can get through this health crisis. And one of her friends had posted on Facebook and said that she's stronger than Superwoman. So that's who Karen Risco is.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the council?
Hello, Council.
Good evening.
Hope you have a happy holiday, belated holiday. But I'm here as a highly burdened taxpayer. I own 3 properties in Lincoln Park, and none of them are rental properties, and they're all paid for. I'm proud to say that. But I'm not proud how this taxpayer money has been spent. Because over the years, I've been arguing with the ordinance officer. He allows violations after violations, and then he gets mad because I was heard when I grew up, you can either be a citizen or a spectator. Well, guess what? Since I'm a taxpayer, I'm going to be a citizen. So when I call up about these violations, he gets upset. So he wants to be vindictive and come after me all the time about my violations on my property. Now, I've come over to the city council for the last 6 months about these violations that occurred on other properties, and you said he acts responsibly and quickly. Well, why hasn't he done anything yet? I have people who have logs on the ground that are less than 12 inches on the ground. I have fences that are stored, that are erected improperly, that's been there, and he has done nothing about it. Now there's been a camper that's been stored en route by the creek for more than a year, and he has done nothing about it. Now there's a camper on Warwick and Lafayette stored in an easement over for the winter. That's illegal. He knows that, but why doesn't he do anything about it? I hope you council decide to do one thing. Either have him do his job or fire him. Because if you fire him, you could take that money and use it to pay for the pumps that these citizens have been crying about for you to fix for years. And you have neglected to do that. Even the mayor has done it. The former mayor had neglected to do that. And he said he lived in Lincoln Park for years. Why didn't he done it when he was in office that whole time? That's the question. And another thing is, this thing he was voted, not to discriminate against him or disparage him, but this thing he was voted on, was that something in somebody's vest pocket to say, hey, this is a consolation prize for him not being elected again? Because was there anybody else able to fulfill that position, or was that only him able to have qualifications for that position? Because nobody told me. Because if that was the case, I might have wanted to be on that council or that group of people. Because I tell you what, the way things are running around here, I'm wasting my tax dollars. And the mayor knows it, the former mayor knew it, the city manager knew it, because there was times I would call her office about this ordinance officer. And what has she done about it? Nothing. Now, I look at it like this. If he continues to do what he's doing, I look at it as discrimination and harassment, because he has yet to do what he's supposed to do for his job. So when are you going to put his feet to the fire? Because I'm tired of paying my tax dollars and being harassed, and yet he does nothing to do his job properly. Yep. Daring headlights.
Sir, you can feel free to call my office with the addresses, and I'll be sure to make the ordinance officer go out and make sure that these things are done correctly. But I need addresses in order to get anything done.
There was a list that she had, not to try to be improper, talk through the seat.
It is.
There was a list down there already. When I called up the second time, she said, well, he already violated it. What else can he do? I'll tell you what he does.
Okay,
Either
we
he
can't
turns around
talk
and
like
gives him
this
a-
right now.
either
You
he
need
gets
to
a
come back
violation,
up
he goes
here
to court.
and finish
Has-
your 5 minutes.
Has he gone to court? Has any of them gone to court? Because that's how the procedure works.
Gary's out of order.
That's okay. All right, thank you, sir. But if you want to contact me with the addresses, I'll be happy to work on it.
I hate to be rude, like I said, I will.
Thank you.
You know I will.
Anybody else want to address this body? Thank you, sir. Come on up.
First, I want to thank the mayor and the council for appointing me to the two commissions. And thank you for allowing me to keep working with the city and doing things that I love to do for the city that I love. I would like to point out that I have been on both the CIC and Parks and Recreation ever before I was ever elected to the city council or mayor. And I'd also like to point out that when I was mayor, I pointed out every single meeting that we have openings that all the commissions and anyone can be on them. With different rules for different commissions, but anyone can be on the commissions. And I just wanted to point that out. And lastly, I have a Jimmy Carter story, because Jimmy Carter was here in Lincoln Park, and it's very famous that he built the humanity homes, and he built one here, right in Lincoln Park on Howard Street. Right after I was elected to the city council the first time, he was here. I got to meet the man, but he didn't talk to anybody other than to say, hey, grab a hammer, come on and help us. And him and Rosalind, his wife, were building the house, and he got several of us to help him do it. And it was an amazing story, looking back at what he has done. So I just had to add that to the Lincoln Park story. And again, thank you.
Anybody else like to address this body? We'll go into oral reports of the mayor and council. We'll start with President Salcido.
Thank you, Mayor. This will be brief. First off, thanks, Mike, for clarifying being on the two commissions and all that, and I appreciate your desire to be Lincoln Park oriented, and thank you for that, for your service. Also, I look forward to those addresses from that gentleman.
Yes.
So we can do some follow-up on that to finally put that to rest, I would hope. And thank you for the DPS this past weekend, late Friday and early Saturday. Made sure all the fire routes were clear. Thank you for your work. And our next meeting is going to be on Tuesday, January 21st, not on Monday. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
No.
Right?
Nope.
No.
No.
Martin Luther King is on Monday, the 20th?
Yeah, but our
Yeah.
meeting is
27th.
the 27th
Oh, is it?
on
Well, thank you for the
Monday.
clarification.
Well, you'd be really
You'll be
early.
here all by yourself.
Welcome to come on Tuesday, the 21st, but
I looked at a 2024 calendar. Thank you.
I don't plan to be here.
Lillian?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one thing, and that is that the Parks and Rec Department is hosting a 100th anniversary poster competition. So they are inviting all residents of all ages to showcase their creativity and love for our community and submit an artwork, poster size 11 by 17. The submission is due March the 14th. They are due to the Parks and Rec office. So just to give you a little more information, they're looking for posters that embody the spirit of Lincoln Park, its vibrant community, rich history, and cherished landmarks. Whether inspired by our parks, historic sites, or the resilience of our residents, we encourage you to bring your vision to life. So they have 3 age groups for this. They've got kindergarten through 8th grade, 9th grade through 12th grade, and then adults 18 and over. So it's for everybody. So if you would like more information, contact the Parks and Rec office. That's all I have. Thank you.
Tracy, go ahead.
I'd like to say happy and blessed New Year to everyone. Happy 100th birthday to Lincoln Park. That's so cool. Thank you, DPS, for putting in all the hours in the cold, the water main breaks, and the roads. Much appreciated. And with that, I'll say good night and God bless.
Jason?
Yes, also, thank you to the DPS crew. They were very, very busy this past weekend. And also, hats off to Dennis and his Parks and Recs team and his staff, volunteers, the Exchange Club for a fantastic event this past Saturday, celebrating 50 years at the community center. It was an absolutely packed house. And then, as some of you may know, there are several organizations that support and try to lobby and help jurisdictions like ourselves. And one of those is the Michigan Municipality League, or the MML. I know everyone behind here, we get their emails on a somewhat regular basis. And they represent somewhere around 550 or so cities, townships, chartered townships and villages. And they lobby at the state and federal level on behalf of units like us. And they have standing policy committees. And I have gotten myself appointed to the Energy and Environment Committee. And we have our first orientation next week at our state capitol in Lansing. I'm very excited to be going up to our state capitol. For anyone who hasn't been there, it is a magnificent building. The architecture is astonishing, and it comes with lots of history. And I'm excited to see where this Energy and Environment Committee might lead, and hopefully can help provide a benefit for cities like us in Lincoln Park. And I just wanted to let everyone know that. And I know I've mentioned it to to the mayor and the city manager, because I don't know what to expect. I'm going to find out next Tuesday. I believe the orientation is at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I just wanted to say first time I'll be doing something like this, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopes everyone has had a great start to the new year, and let's make this a great year. Thank you.
Yes, I attended my first meeting at the Police and Fire Retirement Board, and they were very, the introductions were made, the board was very receiving and informative. The findings, or the funding, is doing well, and they're hard. They've been hard, and no current retirements or deaths. They're hardworking, is what I meant to say. Also, I've been around town visiting food trucks. And I found they have a new one called Fubu, and it's Nigerian food. So if you're interested and you want to try Nigerian food, it was very clean, I was very well received. He was just setting up, so I didn't get a chance to eat at that one, but I'm interested and want to try Nigerian food. So, and he's been on Southfield lately. The other one was 682 Southfield, and in my opinion, he's not in compliance, but I'm going to let the department heads decide that. And most everyone that's been on the food trucks, I was kind of surprised because most of them are exceptionally well run, and all their compliance stickers are right in the window, right where you can see them. They're very kind. And I was kind of set back. I wasn't expecting that to be well received. So with that, I'll just say thank you to all of our department heads for the work that they do. Although, John, correct me if I'm wrong, it's warmer in the hole than out of the hole. If you're doing a water.
Wind and the amount of water.
Gotcha. With that, I'll say good evening. Thank you.
Jason?
All right. I'm going to be the long one for tonight. Sorry, guys. First off, from the assessor's office, the personal information for your taxes has been sent out, so please get that filled out ASAP, get that returned so they can process the information. Lincoln Park Community Center, as we had spoke earlier, has celebrated their 50th anniversary, and they are selling T-shirts at the pro shop, so if you happen to be in the rink, stop by, get a shirt. $20, right, Dennis? 20 a shirt. CityLP.com, looking for a couple job openings right now, so if you know anybody that's able-bodied, 18 years or older, please pop on the website. We're looking for some able-bodied individuals in the city. So, CityLP.com for your job opportunities. There was some concern, and some people had came up to me about the tree lighting being not in the median as it usually was. There is a power distribution issue between that box and the median on Southfield. So it's not a switch. Nobody's trying to do anything nefarious. It's a $30,000 repair to get power to that center median. So that is why everybody decided to have the tree at City Hall, which I thought was pretty nice. Maybe next year we can get more businesses to match the lights, and we can have a nice strip down Southfield.
We're going to do that.
So, again, tree lighting, the power distribution issue with the box, not a fuse, not somebody doing anything silly. It's just an issue with the box, and it's expensive to repair. Also, at the community center, January 25th at 5 p.m., Skate Company is hosting Skate Around the World, the Snowflake Spectacular 2025. Tickets are donation at the door, and again, it's at 5 p.m. on January 25th. And last but not least, huge shout out to John and the water departments, all those guys out there in the middle of the winter. Rain, snow. I know they had a water main at my street corner, and they were out there for almost 13 hours. Because I'm at Washington and Monty, and the streets flooded, and then unfortunately that was a huge rupture in the line, so I felt bad for the guys. 13 hours is a long day, and then they got to come back and do it all over again Monday. So shout out to those guys, and hopefully everybody drives safe. Be cautious, it is slippery everywhere. Just because you have an SUV does not mean that you can stop. You might be able to take off, but you cannot stop any better than the rest of us. And make sure, I had a couple incidents, there are people walking in the roads, especially on Southfield, with dark attire, and it's hard to see them at night, so please, extra eyes when it's dark. That's it. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Jason. So I just have a couple comments. As Lisa told us about the water mains starting here on 4th Street at Champaign, coming up to Cleophas, going to 75. That work's going to start on Wednesday. Also, DTA is starting work. They're working on London to 4th Street, down to Moran, all the way to Dix. So a little square there. They'll be working on that. So keep your eye out for them. There's going to be some construction that's going to be going on. And as we move more to the daylight savings time and more daylight and warmer weather, you're going to see a lot of construction happening around the city. Yeah, everybody's going to be annoyed. Nobody likes to see it, but in the long run, it's a good thing. And when it's all done and over with, you're all going to be much happier than you are without us doing these things. So bear with us and just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We're doing the best we can, and it's all going to be for the better. And with that, I hope you all had wonderful Christmases and your New Year's are off to a wonderful start. And with that, I will make a motion or ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
And good night, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
And Mayor Tobin.
Thank you.